Hello everyone. My name is Elise. Welcome to my channel. I hope you're all doing so good today. We're going to be doing a good old-fashioned book haul this time, and I have a lot of books. So we'll get into all of that. I think partly it's due to it being National Poetry Month in April, and also I got a lot of gifted books this month, which is amazing. So we're gonna go over the ones that I bought for myself first, and then we'll switch into the ones that were gifted to me. And for any of those keeping track, it's okay that this is a big book haul because gifted books don't count on my tracking in and out. They don't count as books coming in. So yay for me. I don't think it got too out of control given that rule. So let's go ahead and dive on into some of the books that I bought myself this month. So you can see the big old stack there. So I'm going to start with the poetry. I always do a big poetry haul in April for National Poetry Month. And I think I have five works of poetry here. So we will start there. Firstly, we have Alive at the End of the World. This is a collection by Saeed Jones, and it's published by Coffee House Press. Saeed Jones has a memoir out that came out pre-pandemic. I want to say maybe in like 2019, right before the pandemic, which I also own and have not read. So I might need to pair these up and read them together. And this collection is talking about themes of grief. So it's talking about it says the shared calamity that is currently going on in our world and the ways that we need to grieve that. So some of the things that it's tackling here are climate change, mass shootings, systemic failures, and sort of trying to reconcile with the hurt and the grief that is coming from all of those things. So I do think that while this is heavy, I think there is a tone of humor about it all as well. So I'm hoping that will balance and make it feel not super heavy, but I'm really excited. I've heard great things about this collection, and the cover is just so intriguing. Like, what does it all mean? I don't know, but we're gonna find out. That is Alive at the End of the World by Saeed Jones. Next up, we have a poetry collection from Two Lines Press, and this is called Home. This is one of the Calico editions, which I know I've talked about before, which are all anthology collections that they do that are brought together by a certain theme. So the theme for this one is translated Arabic poems into English. So it's a wide range of authors, a wide range of translators, and just the one thing gathering them together is that they've all been translated from Arabic. And this says it's called Home because it's looking at the intimate world of the everyday, its agonies and its delights. So this has 9 different poets from 8 countries in it. And yeah, I've been loving these Calico editions. I now own the entire first set that they came out. They're in their second set. They come in sets of 4, but you don't have to buy them together. They're sold separately, but like each year 4 of them come out. So I'll have all of the first 4 that came out the year that it started, and this was the last one that was missing from that. I'd been lingering on getting the poetry collections or not, just because they can be really hit or miss for me, and I wasn't sure if a poetry anthology from different authors was going to work, but I saw it and I was like, ooh, I sort of want to be a completionist and have the whole collection. And I like reading stuff that's been translated from Arabic just because it's a little bit harder for me to find. I decided I would pick this up, and I'm very excited to get to it. So that is Home. Next up, we have one that I have already read, and that is And Yet by Kate Baer. This is published by Harper Perennial, and I am a Kate Baer stan. I love her poetry. If anybody saw some of my videos from last year, her poetry collection of erasure poems was my favorite poetry collection of the year. I've also read her other collection, which is called What Kind of Woman, and really enjoyed that as well. This was amazing. I think I would put this near the top, so I liked this better than What Kind of Woman, and maybe just slightly under the erasure poems, but they're pretty neck and neck. I really loved this. And this has a lot to do with womanhood, with motherhood, and sort of the evolution of a writer and a poet. So it has all of these encapsulated into one, and I liked bouncing between them. I enjoyed the collection as a whole and felt like it very much had a distinct style, and those themes were cohesive throughout the entire collection. And that's something that I really want in any type of collection of poetry or short stories, is that thematic integration throughout, and this has it. I just love the way she writes. Like, it's so spectacular. I think she's a great entry point for people who are new to poetry. There's not a lot of like hidden stuff that you have to try and figure out. It's pretty much like it laid out on the page, very easy to follow. And yeah, I absolutely love this. So if those themes sound interesting to you and you want to get into some poetry, highly, highly recommend this collection. Next up, we have a collection that I think is pretty popular and I've been interested in getting for a while and finally decided to do it. And that is Dog Songs by Mary Oliver. So I had never read a full Mary Oliver collection. I've read poems here and there, some of her most popular ones, but I've never bought and read an entire collection. So this is the first one I bought. Probably unsurprising if you know that I have a dog and I'm a huge dog lover. This is a celebration of the bond that she has had with her own dog. And it's all about the connections that humans have with animals, specifically dogs, and how unique and extraordinary that relationship can be. So I'm a sucker for that. I am so attached to my dog. It's semi-ridiculous. So I'm very much enjoying this. It also does have a few illustrations. Let me see if I can get one and show you. There is an illustration of a dog, which are beautiful. So yeah, I'm really excited to get to this. I think it will be good to intersperse between some of the really heavily like thematic collections that I have that might be a little heartbreaking. I think that this will be tonally a little bit lighter and I need that interspersed in between. So that is Dog Songs by Mary Oliver. And this one is published by Penguin, I believe. Yes, this is published by Penguin. All right, the last collection that I have is part of my Coffeehouse Press subscription for the year, and that is the Heiress Ghost Acres by Lightsey Darst. And something that I think is really interesting about this one is it says that it's trying to get at this in-between space between like your own memory of yourself and then familial memory or like collective memory, and this gray space and in between that lurks in the discrepancies between those two. I think that's very interesting. I have somewhat of a fascination with memory and like what is the truth and things like that. So I think this might get into some of that. I've never read Lightsey Darst before, but I know that they have other collections. I'm not sure how many other ones they have, but yeah, very intrigued to see what this is about and can't wait to get into it. That's the nice thing about the subscription is sometimes you get stuff that you wouldn't have normally bought, which this is one of them, but I'm glad to have it and dive into an author that I haven't read before. So that is the last poetry collection that we have. Next up, we have the other book that I got from the Coffee House subscription so far this year, which is one of my 5-star predictions, and that is A Cowardly Woman No More. This is by Ellen Cooney. And this is like an adventure space novel, which I'm so excited to read. So this all takes place in 24 hours, and it follows a woman named Trisha who is very good at her job and is up for a promotion, but instead an unqualified man gets the promotion and she decides she's had enough and quits. And then somehow she ends up taking a new opportunity that lands her in space. And like, really, I'm just intrigued. I think the beginning of that synopsis sounds like it's gonna have feminist themes, which I love. And then we get this whole like adventurousness of being in space and like thrust into the newness with the narrator. And I'm very excited about that journey. So I think I'm gonna love this. This is much shorter than I originally thought it was going to be. It's just over 200 pages. So yeah, I can't wait to get to this and see what's in store. So that is A Cowardly Woman No More. I have another book from Two Lines Press, and this is their most recent entry into the Calico series. I pre-ordered this one, and this one's called No Edges, and these are all stories translated from Swahili into English. So again, an anthology, multiple authors, multiple translators. And this is called No Edges because it says it's talking about themes of like the boundless future and how we bring that into being. It's also talking about the juxtaposition between like this life on Earth and the chaos of life on Earth, and then also these otherworldly realms that are lying just beyond our reach. So I think some of these are going to have speculative elements to them, and yeah, I can't wait. I really enjoyed the collection of Chinese speculative fiction, so I'm hoping that this will have somewhat of a similar bent with the speculative side, and I can't wait to get to this. I have never read anything translated from the Swahili before as well, so it will be new territory for me, and I'm so excited about that because I'm always looking to read more widely. Yeah, so I'm very excited to get to No Edges. So that is that. Last up, the final one that I bought for myself was again a pre-order, and that is Anything That Moves. This is by Jamie Stewart, and it's published by And Other Stories. And this is a very sexy nonfiction, all about the author's sexual experiences. I think it's supposed to be kind of like cringy and relatable and salacious and all the things in between. So it's not trying to like always be super seductive or sensual. It's just like, here's all these sexual experiences that have made up a life out on the page for you to see. And I love the vulnerability of that. I am sure that I will feel like some parts are cringy and relatable and sexy, so I can't wait to get into it. This is going to be one of the books that I'm reading for my And Other Stories Publisher Taste Test. This was the one book I was waiting on because I have a new release in all of those videos. So this is the 2023 release that's going to be in that video. So I finally have all of the books, so I'm ready to make that video. It will be coming in May. So hopefully you're looking forward to that because I know I am. So that is Anything That Moves by Jamie Stewart. All right, now we're going to shift into the gifted books that I have received this month. So thank you to all the lovely people that have gifted me a book. The first two are from some good friends of mine. They gave me them for cat sitting while they were away, me and my partner, which they totally didn't have to. Their cats are so easy to watch, but they did anyway, and I'm very grateful for them. So the first one is called Ride or Die, and this is by Shanita Hubbard. And the byline of this says, a feminist manifesto for the well-being of Black women. This is also a signed edition, so that's very cool. Let's see if I can show you the signature. Oh, and I'll say, so they got this at the Strand in New York. That's where they were. So there's little bookmarks from the Strand in there. And there is the signature. So yeah, this is exactly what it says on the title. It's nonfiction about the well-being of Black women. So I'm very excited to read this. It's also very short. Can't wait to have it in the collection. So thanks to them for getting it for me. This one is published by, let's see, This one is published by Legacy Lit. All right, next one that they gifted to me and to my husband. It was a blind date with the book, and I saved the cover so I could show you. So this is the cover that was on it, and it says, Work Friends to Lovers, set in rainy Seattle. So if you don't know, I live in Seattle, and my husband and I met at work. So that's the reason that they bought this for us, because it sort of represents our love story on the blind date with the book cover. So I absolutely love this. This is so special that they did this for us. And the book, which I was trying to guess what it was and I could not guess it, ended up being Weather Girl. So this is by Rachel Lynn Solomon, and it's published by Penguin Random House. So this says it's a TV meteorologist and a sports reporter who are scheming to try and reunite their divorced bosses. and they end up falling for each other. It kind of reminds me of that movie, I can't remember what it's called, where they're trying to set up their bosses and it has Lucy Liu in it and then they end up falling in love. It has those vibes. But yeah, I am so excited to read this. I'm gonna attempt to get my husband to read it with me. He's never read a romance before, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I'm very excited to get to this. I always like having a few romances on my shelves to pick up when I'm in that mood. So very happy to have this one, and so happy to know that it sort of in some way represents my husband and I's meeting as well, our little meet cute. So that is Weather Girl. All right, and then the other ones that I have here are gifted from my lovely mother-in-law, whom you know has sent me books in the past, and she has sent me a new collection of 4 books that I'm very excited about. So the first one we have here is Wrong Place, Wrong Time by Gillian Mcallister. This is published by William Morrow, and this has been everywhere. I'm very excited to read this. I don't often read a ton of thrillers, but this is one that I've heard amazing things about, and I am starting to get into the mood to want to read one, especially after reading The Writing Retreat, which my mother-in-law also read. So this one has a speculative element where a woman is looking outside of her house one day and sees her son walking by and having a confrontation with another man, and her son stabs this person and kills them. And when she goes to bed that night, she ends up waking up at the start of that day again, and then progressively starts moving back further in time. And you get the sense that she is needing to change something in order to ensure that the outcome changes of her son, like killing this person. So she's trying to go back and make some changes. I think it's going to be very interesting. I like that sort of like Groundhog Day-esque, like figuring out the butterfly effect of your actions. So I think I'm going to really, really enjoy it. And I've heard rave reviews, so very excited for this one. Next one is The Last to Vanish. This is by Miranda. This is published by Mary Sue Rucci Books, which is an imprint of Scribner. It appears. I'm not familiar with them. This one I'm sure is a thriller. So my mother-in-law has sent me Miranda's in the past. And this one, let's see what it is about. So it says it's a propulsive thriller about a string of vanishings in a mountain resort town. So it looks like 10 years ago, Abigail fell into a job that she loves, which is managing the Passage Inn, which is in this mountain resort town. And it also has a notorious history as for being known as the last location for 6 different visitors who vanished without a trace over the past 3 decades. Then there's a journalist that comes to the town to investigate these disappearances, and we go from there. I'm not going to read the last part of the blurb because I don't want anything to be even remotely spoilery, but I'm very intrigued to see how these 2 women's lives intertwine and how they get caught up in the disappearances that have been happening. I like the atmosphere of like a snowy mountain town. I think that's a very fun setting for a thriller. So yeah, excited to have another Miranda on my shelves. And then next up, we have a very popular book, and that is Lessons in Chemistry. This is by Bonnie Garmus. This one is published by Doubleday. You can tell this is the Book of the Month edition. This one I know is a contemporary that tons of people were loving. I think it was like the Waterstone / Barnes & Noble pick of the year. And I think this is all about like feminism and is a historical fiction about a woman who works in like food science and about all the misogyny and everything that she has to deal with in that realm. So yeah, I'm excited to see what I think of this one. Again, I've heard lots of good things, but this wouldn't normally be something that I think I would typically pick up, but I'm curious about it. So I'm excited to see how it goes. And that is Lessons in Chemistry. And I will say, I have plans to do a video of books my mother-in-law sent me and kind of vlog that experience. So that will be coming out in the next couple of months. I think that might be coming out in June, but that will be upcoming. So I'm curious to kind of see what my experience will be like. All 3 of these will be in that vlog in addition to at least one other one. So yeah, if you're curious about my thoughts on these, keep your eyes out for that vlog. And then last thing that she ended up sending me is, I think this is a sequel, or maybe it's a companion novel to their one, but It Starts With Us by Colleen Hoover. This is published by Simon & Schuster. I think this is the sequel to It Ends With Us, or it's a companion novel, not quite sure. And yeah, I don't want to read the back of this because I don't know what happens in the first one. So we shall see. I've heard lots of good things about this. So yeah, this is a Colleen Hoover on my shelves. I have not read Colleen Hoover before. Curious to see how this one goes. All right, so those are all of the books, my friends. I hope you saw something that you're intrigued by, that you enjoyed. If you've read any of these books, please let me know what you thought down below. And what did you end up buying in the month of April? So I will see you all in the next video. Bye.